Welcome to the University of California, Santa Barbara's tutorial series. This workshop is on the UC application specifically for non-resident freshman applicants looking to submit an application for fall 2023. Now, the University of California has 9 undergraduate campuses. The 9 undergraduate campuses start with UC Davis as the northernmost campus outside of Sacramento, Berkeley in the Bay Area, Santa Cruz, Merced, Santa Barbara, UCLA, Irvine, San Diego, and Riverside. What you'll find is that we use one singular application, the University of California application. It's only accessible and available online. The application is open now for the class of 2023. It opened on August 1st. The application is accessible at apply.universityofcalifornia.edu. You can submit an application and select any and all of the 9 campuses. $70 per campus will be charged to you when you submit your application for any U.S. resident or citizen. If you're an international student, you'll be charged $80 per campus you wish to review your application. That submission period, that ability for you to turn in your application, will happen between October 1st, but no later than November 30th. On November 30th at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time, the application will close. Now, that application will be sent to each of the campuses that you wish to apply to. If you submit an application to all 9 campuses, then 9 individual evaluations will happen. The UC campuses do not collaborate with one another, and we're only looking at the information that was submitted within the application. It is a self-reported application, which means no, we don't want your transcripts. No, you cannot send us letters of recommendation and information that is unsolicited. Whoa, what does that mean? Well, some UC campuses have majors where there is a supplement. Maybe it's an audition. Maybe it is that you're being asked to submit a portfolio of work. That will be clearly identified to you within the UC application. Unless we ask for it, though, don't send it. Now, the UC application asks a lot of questions in the 7 different sections that are accessible to you. We just want to point out that some questions, while there, are not going to be used for the admissions review process. Race, ethnicity, gender. These are questions that are used in the application to generate facts for the Department of Education, to give you statistics, but the admissions officer, by California law, cannot read these, cannot see these, will not use these in the admissions process. Again, California law, which is Proposition 209, prohibits a public institution, and UC campuses are public, from using that information. As a public institution, religion, legacy, demonstrated interest, none of that is a factor. And UCs do not use need as a part of our selection process. Again, for financial aid purposes and admissions, we are need blind in the admissions review. All right, so what can we see? What will we see? Well, the University of California application has 7 sections. The application has logic in the back that is actually moving questions around for you. So here's hint number 1, or tip number 1. Follow the tabs as you see them, starting with tab 1, about you, moving to tab number 2, campuses and majors, so on and so forth. As information is answered, you'll be able to actually move quickly through the application when you do follow our logic. Few hints. 1, there is a sign out button on the top menu bar. There's also a help button that will change its answers based off of the section in the application that you're currently looking at. Your application status details are really reflective once you apply. It'll show you what campuses have downloaded your application, and also it will allow you to edit a certain piece of the application after you've applied. Things like your mailing address, your name, your email, and so forth. Now, within the application process, let's go step by step so that you can discover it. Should you wish to look at just one particular part of the application, I'll remind you that UC Santa Barbara has a great tutorial series which breaks down the application. Our goal, though, is to go through each one of the 7 sections as a non-resident applicant. Let's get started. The About You section will showcase information that's personal about you. You know these answers. You know your first name, you know your last name. In the Personal tab, you'll also be able to put in a preferred name. So, maybe your name is Rebecca, but you go by Becky. Maybe your name is William, but you go by Bill. Those are preferred names, and you can find that as an option for us to communicate with you. You'll also see contact information, so your mailing address. Double check, because if an offer of admission goes out, we want it to get into your mailbox. Citizenship information will dictate here if you're paying that $70 as a US resident or $80 as an international student. Demographic information is your ethnicity and gender, and again, it is not accessible to the admissions officer. We do ask our freshman applicants about their household details. This includes how many people are in your household, what do your parents do, or your guardians. We ask these details to set a personal context in order for us to get to know more about you. And brand new with the class of 2023, we've added a tab for a statement of legal residency, which essentially dictates if you're going to be paying California or out-of-state tuition. Again, this statement of legal residency information is brand new. You'll find that it will ask a set of questions. Those questions might need your parent or guardian to assist, so just make sure that you've got access to their information. Now, when it comes to the application, there's so many questions. Once you've answered all the required questions, a check mark will appear in the tab or the sub-tab. You want all of these check marks done before you move on to the next part of the application. We ask a lot of questions, and so do you answer them all? I hope you do, even the optional ones. Now, second tab in the application is campuses and majors. Here is where you'll see the different campuses, all 9. If you're on a laptop or a desktop, you'll see a map of California with the campuses noted by their geographic location. If you're working on a tablet or a smartphone, you'll see an alphabetical listing of the UC campuses. Check the box next to each campus where you want an application sent. Remember that every time you check a box, you'll be charged for that campus. There is a fee waiver option for any US resident, which will allow up to 4 campuses free of charge. We'll make note that that fee waiver designation will be based here in the application under campuses and majors, only if you submitted the financial information in the previous tab. When you select the campuses you'd like to apply to, your next step will be to, campus by campus, tell the University of California application your intended major. You'll find that the default will be a college view at each campus, well, except for UC Merced. They default to showing you their majors through a category view. You can toggle between the 2 views. You'll select your major by clicking the button that says major next to the title of the program you'd like to be considered for. Every UC campus offers undeclared as an option. And for some campuses where majors might be selective, there'll be the option to add an alternate major or a second choice. That alternate major is available at 8 campuses, Berkeley being the exception. They're one and done. Now, if you click your major and a gray box pops up, that means stop. Stop and read the information that's there. That gray box will give you details about, well, maybe your major being selective and a request to add that alternate major. Maybe it will give you details about the major itself, or it could be that there's a supplemental application or an audition that is required. Again, this is in a gray box. When that gray box appears, if there's a link, we highly encourage you to click on it and read those particular web pages, getting more details about what you need to do to complete not just your UC application, but your application to a major on that UC campus. Now, campuses and majors are done. Now let's talk about academics. The University of California asks our freshman applicants to complete essentially 7 subjects, which in California are considered the A through G requirements. These 7 academic subjects are required for California high school student graduation. Outside of California, that doesn't make as much sense. But think about academic classes: math, history, English, science, art, language other than English. These are the subjects that we're asking you to complete by the end of senior year of high school. And these are what we want you to self-report into the academic history tab. Yeah, I said self-report because we don't ask for transcripts. We don't ask for transcripts. We don't ask for transcripts. Two of these subjects could have been started in junior high, which is why the first thing you see in a subtab is 7th and 8th grade coursework. Students are able to report any math courses that are high school level, so algebra, geometry, and any language other than English courses, French, Italian, German, Spanish, as part of your middle school coursework. After that, we ask you to list every one of your high school class. So did you attend the Bush School in Washington, but also Episcopal in Houston? Those two schools then get listed. Your job is to list every high school you've attended. Now, after you've listed your high schools, you'll list all of your grades and classes in high school. I want to point out that there's a tab that says college, and I'm going to show you this in a second, but I just want to point out that all of these subtabs end with college coursework. We do recognize that high school students have the ability to take college level classes, either at their local community college, through four-year university summer programs. If you took a college level class and that class is on a college transcript, then you need to list it in the college section right here of the UC application. All right, let's start looking at our high schools and how we're going to report them. Now, the University of California application asks you to tell us where your high school is located. So is it in California? Is it outside of California? But in the US, is it outside of the US? And when you do that, you'll be able to tell us about the school. This gives us an understanding of the curriculum which we will articulate. So are you on IB International Baccalaureate? Is your curriculum inclusive of a magnet or an academy? Maybe the other category is that your high school's online. You'll be able to make note of that here. Then, school by school, you'll tell us your dates of attendance. Now, if you've spent all 4 years at the same high school, did you start in August? Did you start in July? Did you start in September? You'll make note of that, noting that 2019 is typically your freshman year. Are you graduating in May? Are you graduating in June? With 2023 being your graduation year. Now, for students who've taken a gap year, again, your dates of attendance will be based off of your enrollment from freshman through senior year. You then associate every grade level with an academic year. 9th grade for the traditional freshman is going to be the 1920 school year. 10th grade, the 2021 school year, and so on. Now, as you're doing this information, we'll end up with a small description box. So my Switzerland High School is on the International Baccalaureate program, and my freshman and sophomore year, I got letter grades, but my junior and senior year, I'm on a 1 to 7 scale. You're able to pick more than one grading term, and you're able to pick more than one grading system. That's an opportunity for you, so be aware of that. You'll list again your dates of attendance, tying your academic years together. And now the job is for us to look at all of the classes that you've taken. So here's what happens next. You're going to be listing your classes one by one. So we'll start off by saying, okay, what is the subject, the A through G subject that I've completed? If I'm entering a math class, then it's a math subject. If I'm entering a science class like chemistry or physics, then it's a science. So you're just going to associate classes in that way. Here's a big hint. Don't put too much stress on this. If you're not sure if pre-calculus is advanced math or if it's calculus, just pick one, aka calculus, and move on. We'll do the additional work of moving things appropriately for you. You'll list the course title and then designate it into an honors category. Now, in this particular example, I'm going to say that I'm taking AP Chemistry. This is how it's listed on my transcript, and that's what eventually I want for you to put into the application. You're going to select science and chemistry as the A through G subject. You'll type in AP Chemistry or Chemistry AP, again, reflecting what's on your transcript. And then from the honors drop-down menu, you'll select advanced placement because this is an AP class. Now, if you're on a semester system, you would see two boxes here. This particular student is on the full term, so they get one final grade per year. They're on a 0 to 100 scale, so they're entering their grade that's on their transcript, which in this instance was 97. Once they've completed this one class, they're going to click the button that says add another course, and they'll continue adding all of the courses for this grade year. So this one was the 2021 school year. You'll do this again for every academic year. Your classes should reflect your transcript. So if your transcript says you took U.S. History Honors, make sure that the course title says U.S. History Honors. In your senior year, your coursework for your first semester will be IP for in progress. For your second semester, it'll be PL for planned coursework. Yes, we know senior year, you may not have grades available. And so that's why that in progress is important. Or you might know your grades by November. It doesn't matter. You don't have to enter them for senior year. In progress works perfectly okay for the admissions review. That's the really easy synopsis of manually entering every single one of your classes. But I told you I'd come back to college level because, well, so many students take college classes. When it comes to the college level, you'll have to add your college. And one of the most important things here is to make sure that you're telling us when you were a student at that college. So the fall of 2020 and the spring of 2021, that's when I took college classes. You have to pick those terms specifically in order to enter the courses. Unlike high school, where you're just putting the title of the name, on the college level, you need to tell me the name of the class, Psychology 1. And then you have to tell me the department and the number of units that college class was completed with. So was it 3 semester units or 4 quarter units? That information is part of this academic history section. Tip number 2. Make sure that you're working from a transcript. Don't use your memory. Use a transcript. You can request one through your counselor. You can open up your Naviance or your score profile, look at the official grades that you've earned, add them to the application so that they match. If you are admitted to a UC campus and you enroll, we will eventually ask for a transcript, and it should match your application. That means that if you repeated any courses, they need to be listed, both the failed, the original class, and the repeat. They need to be listed. That's the extent of the academic history section. I will point out that there's a box called additional information here. This is a great way to add context. So if your high school does not offer AP, if your high school requires you to take, religion courses, if your high school is on the block schedule, if there's anything I need to know about your school, this is where you add it, that additional information box. The next tab in the application is test scores. Within the test score section, students will find that all these optional scores are accessible to them. Now, for my international baccalaureate students, your IB exams are listed here, both the exams that you completed in your junior year and those that you're planning to take as a senior. There's also the option to make note that you're taking an IB diploma. That's the goal of your IB program. For all students doing the certificate, you just list your exams. AP exams can also be listed. Once again, exams that have already been taken and exams that are planned in the senior year. For students where the language of instruction is not English, you'll be asked to take an English language proficiency exam, and there are different ways to do that. TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo. You'll find that you can enter those in the tab Test Scores. International students will find international exams like your A levels, your O levels, and IGCSE exams. So if you're entering test scores, you'll want to use the scores, again, that are official in order to share what you've already completed. Otherwise, you want to tell me what you're planning to take as a high school senior. When it comes to the activities and awards section, our out-of-state applicants, you've got a lot that you can share with us. Don't be shy. The UC application allows you to add up to 20 activities and awards. You'll add things like extracurriculars, community service, work experience, which could be a job or an internship. Within the application process, while you see the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 on the list, recognize that the activities are not ranked. Instead, they're numbered so that you know how close you are to your 20 max. Your activity should be listed from the 4 years of high school. This is not about what you did in junior high or elementary school. You're going to tell us your time commitment with each of your activities, including your hours per week and weeks per year. For year-long events that had, spikes, maybe you did a lot of conditioning during the summer, but your season for football was extensive. Make sure that you average those out so that we can see your hourly commitment. Your job is to not just tell us when you were involved and how much time you spent, but also to describe your activities and describe you, the student, in that activity specifically. A big hint for you is that the 350 character limit within the description is not meant to entertain us, but to get the admissions officer to understand your student accomplishments. The UC application is almost done. 2 more sections to go. The second to last section is called Scholarships and Programs. The UC application has different opportunities for students to be considered for merit or for endowment scholarships. Merit scholarships will vary from campus to campus, whether or not students have the ability to request them. Most of us will use the UC application to consider you for merit scholarships, and many of us will require US citizenship for merit scholarship consideration. A handful of UC campuses will invite you to submit an application for merit aid. That's a great question to ask when you're visiting schools. All of our endowment dollars will be found within different categories in the scholarship section. You can click on each of the tabs to see what's true to you. So under career plans, I want to be a dentist might be an option. If that's true to you, click on it. Maybe you were born in California, but now you live in Pennsylvania. So under ancestry, it might say born in California. Click on it. Again, click on everything that's true to you, which means you want to go through each of the subfields. The Universities of California campuses are committed to supporting our first generation bound students and our students from underrepresented communities. EOP, the Educational Opportunity Program, is that support for first gen students. If you're interested, you'll just give us a small blurb of no more than 240 characters right here. Now, a big part of the admissions process is this holistic admissions review, which means the UC campuses look at you inside and outside of the classroom. So holistic admissions means that we're going to be looking at what you've been able to accomplish, but hey, we don't get to do interviews, and no, we don't read letters of recommendation. How do we get to know you? Those are the personal insight questions. The directors of admissions created 8 questions, and your job in the UC application is to answer 4 of them. Any 4, because they all have equal value. We want you to know that it's not an essay. Instead, it's an opportunity to talk to the stranger in the admissions office. A really good personal insight question gives us clarity, depth, and context. Join us for our UC PIQ webinars and our video recording to learn more about the PIQs as they relate to the freshman admissions process. Remember, the University of California communicates with all students via email, and email is your login to the UC application. Fun fact, many high schools have pretty secure systems. So when we send you emails, they can bounce into a spam filter at your high school. Please, please, please consider using a personal email account and not one tied to your high school as part of your UC application. UC campuses don't track your passwords, so make sure that you're keeping track of them yourself. And use documents like your own resume or your own transcript to self-enter the information into the application. While the application is currently open for the class of 2023, it will accept applications between October 1st, but no later than November 30th. Again, that's our filing period. Students will have access to their admissions decisions in the month of March. Each UC will individually invite you to log into their applicant portal to see a decision. Decisions, if they're positive, if you've been admitted, well, you've got until May 1st to say yes or no to an offer of admission. And only at that one campus where you're choosing to enroll will you be required to send official documents like transcripts and test scores. The application has so many ways for you to find answers, but if you have technical questions, please don't hesitate to use the UC application support email, ucinfo@applyucsupport.net. The Office of Admissions at UCSB is always here to help, so don't hesitate to email us as well as you're working through your application. If you have questions, our current staff is available to you on our Instagram page at UCSB Admissions. Thanks for watching this tutorial. We hope it's helped you understand a little bit more about the UC application for our non-resident students.